Hi there, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Sarah.
We're from TwoTicketsForward.com, and this is our review for the Cinematic Katzenjammer's Not-So-Secret Santa Review Swap. We were given Danny Boyle's 1996 film Trainspotting, starring a very young Ewan McGregor, as well as a whole host of Scottish actors and actresses, Kelly MacDonald, Robert Carlyle, Johnny Lee Miller, just a whole bunch. And this was really the film that kind of put Danny Boyle on the spot, and at least stateside especially, his big breakthrough. So it's about a Scottish lad named Renton and his buddies who are all basically heroin addicts. And
not basically. Hardcore heroin addicts.
That's a good point. Plus all sorts of different drugs. But really it's about Renton's quest to, get clean from the drugs and his friends at the same time. So this is one that neither of us had seen before,
neither of us had seen. I'd heard of it, but I didn't have that big of a desire to see it. So it was interesting to be given this movie as a challenge because as we started watching it, we realized how much of a challenge it was going to be because we started watching the movie and we knew that there were a bunch of Scottish actors in it, but didn't realize that we wouldn't be able to understand any of them. So on came the
closed captioning.
The closed captioning. So
literally about 9 minutes into the film, we realized we can't understand a damn word anybody is saying, and had to turn on the closed captioning, which really helped. Except for the part where there was closed captioning at one point. They kind of crossed it over. In a
that was
scene.
because of the music. But
point being, this was one I had heard about plenty of times. I knew it was McGregor's kind of big breakthrough as well.
Well, not just McGregor's. It was Kevin McKidd's first feature film. Kelly MacDonald's first feature film.
Their first films, but this was the movie that really put McGregor on the map as well. And again, I had heard of it, especially the worst toilet in Scotland scene I had heard about.
Yes.
Didn't know it was that early in the film, but it is just as vile and nasty as its reputation that preceded it. Anyways, our thoughts on the film. What did you think of Trainspotting?
I thought it was very dated, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it's very much a kind of a recent period piece is kind of how I felt about it. It's very 90s. It focuses a lot on lifestyles that were big in the 90s. Heroin was a big drug of the 90s. So it's very interesting in how it kind of showed how it affected, different cultures and, Scotland being a different country. And so it's very interesting. Can't say that I loved it. Thought it was very strange.
It's definitely strange at times.
Very strange at times. But that is strange because we're seeing things through the eyes of someone that's high on heroin.
Well, exactly. So. And that's something that I actually liked about it. It was just like it wasn't my favorite movie. I saw a lot of very good things about it. There's also some very low-budget things that kind of I got to knock it down for, though Danny Boyle did try his best to be creative to get around some of those things. But, like you said, it's very psychedelic at times, especially the scene when Renton, his parents are trying to lock him in his room, and do lock him in his room and make him go cold turkey. That was really freaky.
It was really weird.
As was really the toilet scene. So a lot of spaced out sort of things there. But again, creatively done by Boyle and everybody involved. But to me, it created this weird shift in the film's narrative because right from the get-go, it kind of gets in with the weirdness. And then they show you how their lives kind of go about their daily, routine and getting high. Renton tries to kick it, fails, or falls off the wagon.
Yeah, and it shows things like that, and then it also shows the peer pressure that goes on within the group because Kevin McKidd's character plays Tommy, who's this simple-minded jock style of a guy, and he is broken up with, but, he and his girlfriend break up, and then he is basically peer pressured into trying heroin for the first time, and watching what kind of slippery slope that it can actually be, and it's actually quite sad.
So let me get this straight. You're actually focusing, and it sounds like you latched onto more with the kid's character.
Well, just really kind of like they're almost everybody's character except for Ewan McGregor's. I couldn't latch on to his character.
You couldn't latch onto the main character?
I couldn't latch onto the main character. Strange. I'm aware how strange that is.
Why do you think that is, though?
I don't know. I don't know if it was because he was narrating it and also the main character, and because he's talking about the other characters. So I think I was following the narration and not so much the actual character. Because then you've got Ewan Bremner's character who plays Spud, and he shows kind of what the path that goes down when you're not quite as smart, and so jail is really the best option for you. So that was, there's so many, it really shows every single path that you can go down while being a heroin addict. So I thought that was very interesting.
Interesting. See, because for me, I honestly, for the most part, could not have cared less about Tommy, about Spud, about Johnny Lee Miller's Sick Boy, about Robert Carlyle's Begbie. Begbie, to me, seemed like a gigantic buffoonish character, very violent, and I don't know, it just kind of took me out of it a little bit. Like, I was focused more on Renton and his struggles, and I actually thought the movie got better when it got to the point where Renton moves, spoiler alert, I guess, not really, moves to London to get away from his friends, and I was kind of digging that. Then his friends came back into the picture, and I was really kind of like, oh, crap.
Yeah, so. But it really is a breakdown of what that kind of lifestyle is like. Like Johnny Lee Miller's character, after attempting to kick the heroin habit, goes into the being a pimp and a pusher. And Robert Carlyle's Begbie goes, he's never been a heroin addict, but is extremely violent. So it really kind of shows you just the seedy underworld that this addiction can really cause. So
that's a good way to put it.
And attract the kind of seediness that this attracts, which is, I thought, very interesting.
What did you think of the performances? Was there anyone that stood out more than the others? Was there anyone that you didn't like?
I didn't really think that Kelly Macdonald's character brought a lot to the table. I mean, she's a child, but when she did this movie, it was her very first film, but she's in 3 scenes, and I think I had a hard time attaching to her character, caring about that her character cared about our main character, because I just had a hard time believing it. I didn't quite believe their relationship, I guess.
Okay.
But what about you?
Like I said, Robert Carlyle's Begbie kind of was too much for me. I thought he performed it well. Mm-hmm. You certainly got the explosiveness of his character, but it was a little over the top for me. McKidd, good. I didn't really feel like they gave him a whole lot to do, really.
They don't. It's also clearly his first film, too.
Yep.
So.
I actually, of all the friends, I liked Johnny Lee Miller the best. I thought Sick Boy's kind of arc was interesting in his relationship with Renton and, their supplier, the emotional, things that he kind of goes through in the film. And above all, I thought McGregor was actually quite fantastic in this film.
Yeah, he does a good job. You definitely saw the commitment that he has to his character. And I think that shows probably the most out of any of the other characters. Maybe it just came easier to them to fall into these kind of, so it didn't seem as, I don't know. I kind of felt like Ewan McGregor's character, definitely you could tell that he was trying. This was a very he wanted to do this character right, and so then that definitely came through. I felt in his performance. Very interesting to see him in things now, to know what he's been in now, like, with Jack the Giant Slayer this year, and then to watch this, and it's very interesting where he's gone from then. And actually, it's funny because it made me want to watch other McGregor movies. It actually even made me want to break out his Star Wars films. Cause,
I don't know about that, but
for me.
But I agree. It kind of made me want to watch, Moulin Rouge and Big Fish and films of that ilk. So, don't mention those Star Wars films. That's bad.
He's the best in those movies, though.
That's not high praise.
It's not high
whatsoever.
praise.
Regardless. So, McGregor was good. I liked Danny Boyle's direction. We're starting to ramble a little bit here, but overall, I liked it. Didn't love it. Glad we were given this film.
Yeah, it's a good one. We can cross it off our cinema bucket list.
How is it?
Cinema
bucket list. That's right.
Yeah.
So definitely can do that. So then, final thoughts on Trainspotting.
I say definitely check it out if you're an Ewan McGregor fan, and I would definitely think about putting the subtitles on earlier in the movie, just so that you can get invested in the characters a little earlier on.
Agreed.
But definitely want to check out if you're interested, if you've heard things about it, and definitely glad that we got to see it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree completely with what you say. And I thank Nick for letting us take part in this blogathon. I'm glad that we did, so that we could have something make us watch this film.
Definitely.
So then, what's our final score on it?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to give it. 3.5 out of 5 for Danny Boyle's Trainspotting. And, we recommend it.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.